I'm Kayla, and I'm the registered dietitian at Wellstar Health Place. And today I want to talk to you guys about following a plant-based diet. Now, I know I hear that word a lot, plant-based diet, but I'm going to talk about it when it comes to if you want to try to be a vegan, if you want to try to be a vegetarian. There's a lot of things that can kind of go astray, so you want to make sure that if you're following a plant-based diet that you do it complete. And that's the first point I want to talk about. So I'm going to bring out, this is called a MyPlate. So you really want to still follow MyPlate even if you're doing plant-based. I think what a lot of people forget is actually sometimes the vegetables, to be honest, and it's plant-based. You're supposed to be eating fruits and vegetables. So you want to make sure you don't become what I call a cheesetarian or a carbitarian, right? We want to be a vegan or a vegetarian and eat plant-based foods. So when you're looking at your MyPlate, you want to make sure that you still have a source of protein, you still make half of your plate fruits and vegetables, and you still make a quarter of your plate some sort of healthy carb or some sort of whole grain. So make sure that you do eat complete. Now, when it talks about protein sources, we have to talk about that and kind of point that out. So let's bring in some protein sources. All right, if you are a vegetarian, it's a little bit easier. You can still do things like yogurt, you can still do eggs, you can do some cheese. I just don't want cheese to be your sole source of protein. You can also do things like seeds and nuts. So there's a lot of protein sources that you can do. But if you're purely a vegan, you might need to rely on things like quinoa, which is a complete protein, a great source of protein. Tempeh, one of my personal favorites. If you've never tried tempeh before, I kind of call it like a meatball. It's like a vegan meatball, which is really good. It has great flavor. You could do tofu. There's also a lot of these like shakes and powders that you can do if you want, but I do like people to rely more on actual foods for protein when you're being a vegan or vegetarian. So make sure when you're making a meal that you do choose at least one of these. Heck, I even like two because a lot of vegan and vegetarian proteins aren't complete. So maybe pair your quinoa with beans or nuts to make sure that you're getting enough protein. So that's first part of plant-based diet. And then the next part I want to talk about, which some people forget. So iron is really important. Iron usually comes from animal foods. It usually comes from meat, but there is a lot of plant-based foods that you can get iron from. Seeds actually have a ton of iron, so do beans. These are some dry beans if you want to try those. Spinach does have iron too, but there's also a lot of phytates in spinach, which can kind of make iron absorption a little difficult. So when you're trying to get iron from foods like spinach, beans, seeds, you want to make sure that you include a source of vitamin C. So of course, we know a lot of sources of vitamin C like lemons and citrus. You can do that, but vitamin C also comes from strawberries, bell peppers, blueberries, a great source of vitamin C. So vitamin C really helps you to absorb your iron. So next part of a plant-based diet, we want to talk about calcium. Especially if you're a vegan, you're not going to be eating any dairy, so you need to make sure that you pay attention to calcium. Plant-based foods that have calcium, you've got chia seeds. Almonds actually have some calcium in them. Spinach does have some calcium, spinach, broccoli. A lot of these plant-based milks have a lot of calcium in them. So make sure that you do eat some calcium-rich plant foods every single day. And the last part is your B vitamins. Okay, so when you're a vegetarian, not as much of a problem. You are gonna get some B vitamins from eggs, yogurt, things like that. But when you're a vegan, you're not really going to get it anywhere unless you take a supplement. So you wanna make sure, specifically B12, that you take some sort of supplement. And there are a lot of like blue-green algae supplements that you can take, but this is just a B supplement that I like. So make sure that you pay attention to that. So remember, when it comes to plant-based diets, if you want to follow one, make sure that you eat complete, still follow your MyPlate, eat some protein, maybe even 2 sources at every meal. You want to make sure you pay attention to your iron, your calcium, and your B12. So if you need any more guidance on plant-based diets, you can meet with a registered dietitian. Just like me, you can actually meet with me. If you'd like, I'm at Wellstar Health Place. You can click the link down below for more information. Hope to see you there.